Thank you, Alf, and thanks everybody for joining, and thank you, David, for the early morning show. So let me start introducing with myself. So my name is Hasan Verinç. I'm Director of Professional Services at Advanco. I have, thanks to my home country, Turkey, the first country in the world, started with full track and trace. I've been doing this for 15 years, only track and trace projects. And we are now ready to talk about our cold chain solution with Thermo Fisher. So I'm handing over to David now.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's enjoying the conference there today. My name is David Bond. I'm a Senior Manager of Packaging Engineering for Thermo Fisher and Patheon. And as a part of that role, I am Serialization Program Leader for our global network. And with that, I'll do a quick introduction on the company itself. So Thermo Fisher. Next slide. Okay, so start out with our mission here, which is to enable our customers to make the world healthier, cleaner, and safer. And I think we can all agree, healthier and safer over the last couple of years is probably a good theme that we'd all like to see for sure. A little bit more about the company here. So worldwide, we have over 100,000 colleagues. About 5,700 of those colleagues are research and development scientists and engineers. And speaking of research, I mean, we've invested approximately $1.4 billion in the research area. And with the overall structure of the company, we have a revenue in excess of $40 billion. So that shows the size of the company and the network we have available to support us with our mission. Thermo Fisher itself is, I guess, divided into many groups. We have some analytical diagnostics, biosystems, genetic analysis, research areas, clinical services, laboratory services, and pharma services, which is the main area of focus for myself personally. So I want to talk a little bit about the partnership we have with Advanco. Since about 2015, we've been working with Advanco to provide serialization to all of our customers. We have installed solutions across 4 sites that are currently supporting 17 packaging lines across our network. Serialization configured for more than 350 SKUs so far. We've installed the cold chain solution that we're going to talk about at 3 of our locations currently. And we're looking at installations that are ongoing at other sites to support additional packaging lines across the network with the Advanco solution. And we're also evaluating some additional, I know Advanco has some new, beyond cold chain, has some new offerings available out there that we're also evaluating at some of our other sites. So it's quite the partnership we have with Advanco, and very happy with that partnership.
Great. Thanks, David. So let's quickly check the facts about Advanco, about us. So we are focusing pharma since Turkey started this journey, full track and trace, and since then focusing really only that part. We have now actually around 500 packaging lines that we are controlling with our solutions. We had our first customer, Thermo Fisher, for the COVID-19 vaccine of Pfizer. And Pfizer is still a customer, which was the first one in Turkey. And we are actually acquired by Parabellum Investments in 2019, and we are still in actually transforming. And where we are good at is actually we are offering open vendor-independent solutions on every level, not only site level. So at level 4 or on our shop floor solutions, we are open vendor agnostic. That's our strength. So with the heterogeneous environments like multiple vendors on, let's say, sales on a packaging line, let's say vendor A at the serialization, vendor B on the aggregation, that's where we really shine. So we have more than 50 customers around the world. We have the biggest standard interface portfolio, again, from level 2 to level 5, let's say the compliance modules. We offer, of course, 24/7 support. We have, like I said, presence at more than 20 countries, open, and we never lost a customer. So, that's not working. Perfect. So, thank you. References, Thermo Fisher is in the middle, one of the biggest, and the most important one, to be honest. But as you can see, we have different kind of customers: 3PLs, CMOs, MAHs, the big brand owners like Pfizer, others, or really small CMOs or 3PLs that we offer our solutions. So again, very open, very flexible, very modular setup allows that kind of different companies in a reference page. So next is the challenges. So it was 2021 February. We said, okay, we are starting the project, and there were a lot of challenges like the lockdowns, limited travel time. For example, I was only be able to stay at Italy, at that Monza site for 5 days, and the whole team, we were also partnering with OCS. They had the same issues, but beside that, the real challenge about the COVID-19, let's say, the vaccination, speed, the scale, and the capacity. So not on the packaging or manufacturing side, distribution of this, administering that vaccines to billions of people, also caused new challenges. But if we focus on the manufacturing and the distribution and the warehouse operations, the main challenges, which new ones, of course, starting with the extremely low temperatures, thanks to new mRNA, technology, they require, more really low temperatures. It was something that we needed to really find a way to, overcome those challenges. And the time scales, because billions of people, all of us actually, was waiting for the vaccine, to be able to, continue our lives like before. So we had really, a plan, which in the beginning nobody believed, to be honest, because there was also a machine involved on that. The machine was not even produced for the packaging of these new cartons, which we will mention later. And then with multiple vendors, people are not allowed to travel, come together, have face-to-face meetings. It was a bit challenging. But again, we overcame those challenges, so now we can talk about that more. So back to you, David.
Thank you, Hassan. So with the cold chains and serialization required, we obviously were facing quite a challenge here. So for Thermo Fisher, serialization with aggregation was a standard for us right from the very kickoff, we'll say, of serialization, regardless of the market. That allowed us to keep, some accuracy on our data, and the quality of the data was just guaranteed through aggregation. And with the pending DSCSA requirements for aggregation, that was something that was always close on our mind. We didn't want to implement any type of solutions that weren't capable of aggregating. Ambient temperature, the process is pretty straightforward. I think most of us have seen packaging lines running in ambient conditions. Not a big deal. Everyone's doing it really around the world. Now, introducing cold chain, that's where we get a challenge here. Product stability relies on ultra low temperatures, and the product can only be exposed for short periods of time to ambient conditions. So completing serialization and aggregation under those conditions really becomes a challenge. Back to you, Hassan.
Thank you, David. So next we will look into the process. Oh, sorry, one more about the challenges. So The biggest challenge, you know, the prevention of, I mean, the waste, actually, the COVID-19 vaccines, you know, precious, you know, vaccines that we were waiting for, but we had a lot of wastage. I mean, more than 50 is waste. I mean, in the beginning, maybe the figures are different now, but in the beginning, most of the vaccines are wasted, you know, due to the logistic issues, the temperature issues, or, you know, everything, you know, related from, starting from warehouse to supply chain, had, you know, end up with some wastage, which we are trying to really prevent this. We will also talk about our new technologies, to how we can prevent that waste. But today, eventually, now we can track all the product, or let's say COVID-19 vaccine, from packaging till the administration centers, and we can still find that the time spent on certain stakeholders, for example, and we can optimize those processes inside the supply chain or distribution centers and minimize the waste of the products. But again, like I said, more on that later. So next is our solution. So again, like I said, it was February 2021. The plan was very aggressive, but we finally, actually, we finished the implementation. I mean, we went live in less than 8 weeks. So thanks to our cold chain product, which is part of our bigger platform, and thanks to its modularity, scalability, and also easy to update and upgrade features, we were able to manage implementing that solutions in less than 8 weeks from really nothing. Did we even develop some custom, let's say, features or functions like virtual bundles in that time windows, and we together with Thermo Fisher and of course OCS, we had a great job. So let's look on the process next. So everything, of course, starts in the packaging. So technically, I mean, the product, the vaccine coming from Pfizer's manufacturing site in Belgium in a bulk, and then, of course, filled and into vials. And then where we play a critical role is, of course, the secondary packaging. So we have two main, let's say, areas, processes, which we will go a bit more details in now. So starting with the packaging, on the next slide, we will be able to see the steps. So yeah, so the vaccines are filled into vials, and then 195 vials are packed into a carton called pizza box. It's really a pizza box, by the way, 30 by 30, 195 small, very small vials are packed semi-automatically, let's say, and then those pizza boxes are serialized. 5 of them are bundled physically, but thanks to, again, minus 80, these challenging temperatures, it was not possible to stick a label on that bundle. There was a, shrink wrap around that or a band, and we could, nobody was providing that kind of adhesive that time on a label that can survive in this temperature. So, but as David said, the aggregation is a standard approach in Thermo Fisher, and there is no chance to avoid that. So we find a way to, create a virtual bundle serial number and kept that information and somehow find a way to manage that through the rest of the operations, like bundling, case aggregation, shipper aggregation, etc. Then the bundles are created, the virtual serial number is assigned on each individual bundle, and then a virtual bundle, or let's say the bundles, are moved to freezer farms for 48 hours. Then the warehouse process starts, which actually the operators taking out the bundles from freezer farms, putting them special containers, let's say ULTs, ultra low temperature shippers. It's kind of pallet with 6 specially, protected, temperature protected, etc. Special big pallets. They're aggregated into that, and then now it comes to the good part, which is not live yet at Thermo Fisher Monza site, to be honest, but we are now capable of monitoring the temperature, even the more data with this sensor that I'm holding. It's just a representation. You see that there's a different version here. The size can vary, but with this device, we can track all the temperature events. I mean, even we can implement a light sensor and detect if the case is opened. We can check the crash. I mean, with the velocity or accelerometers, we can detect the drops, etc. All that, even the physical things with that smart sensor. So the idea is to put that on any carrier that you want to. Could be a ULT or pallet, or even with this size, you can go to its 12 millimeters. It's very, very small, smaller than a dime, I guess. It's very small, and you can even put that in that very, very small, like the ULTs, or the pizza boxes, or the new cartons, like 50 vials in them. So this is the feature, and we are now, providing that solution, and we are able to monitor the temperature, all if the limits are exceeded, and then we can send that on to our cloud platform or to any platform that you might have today. So that's the feature. I'm holding my hands now, and there will be different versions of this sensor, which we will show you later. So next is we are going back to the benefits. Back to you, David. Thank you.
Thanks, Hassan. So great presentation, great overview of the solution. So now this presents us with the opportunity to look at the benefits of this solution. So as I mentioned before, aggregation standards, we can now maintain those standards. Accuracy of the data being shipped, quality of that data. We know that the data matches the physical product with aggregation. And not to mention, I mean, some markets worldwide, including DSCSA, are eventually going to enforce the requirement for aggregation. So we're set. We can do this already, and we don't have to worry about upcoming upgrades to packaging lines when the capability is already there. Now, with the solution, we can also reduce the time out of cold storage. This gives us the opportunity to move product back into storage midstream in the middle of the aggregation packaging process. So we're reducing that out of time, and then that in turn limits the impact to product stability. We all want to keep safe products out there. Stability is a concern, ultra low temperature, so we can maintain that product stability. And now with the solution moving from the packaging line to the warehouse, with our stations, now rework stations and aggregation stations located in a warehouse in a cold storage area, the final aggregation, and if there's any rework along the way, we all know our QA folks like to take samples from time to time, and there's some rework involved there. So any of that work now can be performed in the warehouse. There's no need to move the product back to a packaging line to do additional aggregation or sampling or any type of rework. That can all be done in the warehouse or cold storage area, and that helps us with scheduling. We're not interrupting a busy packaging line to perform any rework. And ultimately we have the life-saving vaccine delivered safely to our patients, which, I mean, that brings us back to our mission in total. We want to enable our customers to be healthier and safer, and just the part of this process is just that helps us achieve that mission. So thank you.
Thank you very much, David. So we wanted to end up with our video, which will show you the process also in a bit more details, in a nicer way. Then we will go with the Q&A.
The The global COVID-19 pandemic introduces new challenges for the pharmaceutical supply chain, which puts extreme demands on the scale, speed, and capacity. Specific vaccines require production and storage in temperatures of up to -80 degrees Celsius, as they can only survive at room temperature for a very short period. Temperature-sensitive products require special end-to-end supply chain requirements, from manufacturers and transportation to warehouses and healthcare facilities. Advanco deployed its state-of-the-art serialization and aggregation solution, ARC Cold Chain, to meet the complex challenges. The ARC Cold Chain solution provides clear visibility, remote monitoring with smart sensors, and long-term process improvement capabilities to reduce waste. Advanco's cold chain solution gets products where they need to be and proves the integrity of the cold chain. The solution was developed to allow Thermo Fisher Scientific to package the vaccine at their plants across Europe. The entire process is designed to overcome operational time constraints from packaging to shipping. The vaccine is transferred in special containers in bulk. The vaccine is then filled into vials, labeled, and inspected. Then, 195 vials are packaged into a pizza box carton and serialized. Afterwards, 5 pizza boxes are then physically bundled and virtually aggregated with a bundle serial number. The bundle's hierarchy data is then received, allowing an operator to scan the pizza box's 2D codes during the shipment execution, drastically reducing the time it needs to spend at room temperature. Virtual bundles are moved to freezer farms and kept according to cold storage standards for 48 hours. During the warehouse operations, each carrier's temperature, check-in, and check-out of the finished goods from freezer farms and different rooms are monitored, and the events are logged and preserved in the cloud. After the shipment, our smart sensors keep logging the temperature of ultra-low temperature shippers, and historical temperature data is uploaded to the cloud at the delivery. At Advanco, we have been contributing to the global effort against challenging the COVID-19 pandemic by working all around the world with several offices based in Brussels, Cancun, Cologne, Istanbul, London, and San Francisco. For more information, feel free to visit www.advanco.com.
You can buy the video from me, by the way, if you like it. So, any questions to Hassan and to David? John?
I'm going to ask your question.
Okay, good.
What's the future of this in terms of Pharma 4.0 and Data 4.0? Where do you see it going next? You obviously have it in cold chain. Where does it integrate up and down?
Cold chain is a good example. We believe that the data, and we heard it before, need to be accessible to everything. So, locking everything, temperature, locations, and sending it all along the way and make it available to everybody. That means is, from a machine up to L3 to L4, warehouse, 3PLs, whatever, because sooner or later, these are data, and as we all know, looking in IT, the new gold is data, and you can do a lot with this data, and that is where we see personally where Pharma 4.0 Industry 4.0 that utilizing all this data we can collect, even before utilizing them, spreading them around and getting the right logic out of it, using them with best practices, what I can do better, and using the data all the way.
Thanks. And David, same question?
David?
Yeah, I mean, like Alf mentioned, I mean, the key, the gold standard is data. So when it comes to Pharma 4.0, I mean, the integrity of that data, accuracy of the data is definitely key to our process. We know how serialized data in general, regardless of cold chain, is being used throughout our networks. And, as Pharma 4.0 becomes key in the industry, we want to keep up with that wave.
Any other questions? That means we've done a good job, get you earlier to lunch, because I see hungry eyes here.
Just before we have a booth. If you have any questions in the future,
sure.
Visit us.
Can meet this young
Don't leave me
gentleman
alone
over
there.
Happy to ask you any question. David, thank you for joining us so early, and see you soon. Back to Canada.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Take care, everyone.